Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Wahoos Weekly, your weekly in-depth look at the Pensacola Blue Wahoos both on and off the field. I'm Eric Bramer, he's Charlie Hobart. Charlie, we're a couple weeks into the season, slow start, picking things up on the field, and you're settling into the new rhythm and routine of a daily minor league baseball team. How you feeling?
I think I'm feeling pretty good. You know, it's definitely a change from what I'm used to, especially going on the road for the first series of the year. It's a lot of work, but now that the Wahoos are playing some good baseball, I'm having a great time.
Well, you told me the other day that you don't do caffeine, you don't do coffee or anything, so at what point are you going to give in to that and actually need caffeine to do this job every single day?
Well, I did have some green tea the other day, which is, to my knowledge, caffeinated. I guess the season will dictate that one. I've made it this far. I think I can make it a little further.
Well, let's turn our attention to the baseball team. Wahoos playing on the road in Montgomery this week. Their second look at the Biscuits, a team that swept them on opening weekend in 2 games plus a rainout that we've made up on the road. But I think if you're turning towards the positives, Blue Wahoos hung with Montgomery on opening night, just got dinked and dunked a little bit, but as long as they can keep Montgomery in check, they should like their chances.
I mean, absolutely. They're a big running team, the Biscuits, as everyone seems to be in this Southern League this year, Pensacola included. Ryan Ignafo has really started showing up behind the plate. He's gunned down runners. He's played spectacular defense behind that dish. So keeping the running game in check shouldn't be too much of an issue. Obviously, you're going to give up stolen bases, but with a good catcher back there like Ignafo, it's not going to get out of hand.
Tampa Bay Rays seem to want to have that leadoff speedster at the AA level to make them into a big league player. We saw Chandler Simpson a couple years ago. We saw Homer Bush last year. Austin Overin is that guy this year. A few days after the Blue Wahoos played the Biscuits, Austin Overin set a modern Southern League record by swiping 5 stolen bases in a single game. Doesn't seem like the only time he'll be doing that because he can run and he's very aggressive.
No kidding. And with this new rule, the new pickoff rule that's been put in place for AA, where the pitcher only gets 1 disengagement. If he gets the second disengagement and doesn't get the runner, that's a balk. So teams are running wild, and guys like Austin Overin are really taking advantage of that rule. He did it through the first 2 games against Pensacola. He's not going to stop anytime soon.
We've talked about this experimental 1 stolen base or 1 pickoff rule in AA this year, and pretty much everyone that we've talked to, Charlie, doesn't seem to like it all that much. In fact, they've expressed doubts that that rule will survive the entire season. The comparison to that would be a couple years ago when we experimented with a spray tack baseball and MLB got the results that they wanted, perhaps the results they didn't want, but they got clarity on whether or not the spray tack baseball was a good idea, and they ended that experiment early in the middle of the season. What have you seen with that 1 disengagement rule that might lead us to believe, this is a bit too far?
I think we all love offense and we all love base running, but I think too much of anything is good for nothing, you know what I mean? Stolen bases are fun, but when it's happening on every single at-bat, every single pitch, it's starting to just get a little unfair towards the defensive end of things. You know, I think with the pickoff rule, it's part of the goal was to make it a quicker game. We've already had multiple 3-hour games, so it's clearly not having that kind of impact on the game, and it's just become kind of too much havoc on the bases. I love havoc on the bases, don't get me wrong, but it's getting to be a little bit much.
We also saw a situation on the road in Biloxi, our first road trip of the year, where that 1 disengagement had already been used up. There was a runner at third base, and he was pretty much daring someone to step off because you've got an open path to home plate and there's really no recourse against it. I feel like that's an unintended consequence of this rule.
100%, especially with left-handed hitters up at the plate. That infield is going to shift all the way to the right side. There's going to be nobody on third base to hold that runner on multiple times. I'm surprised we haven't seen someone try a straight steal of home yet. They're getting about halfway down that line, and it's creating a lot of energy, we'll call it. Good or bad, that part's up to you. We'll see how long the rule lasts, Eric.
It's good if it's happening for the Blue Wahoos, and that has certainly been the case again this year. Last year, the Blue Wahoos stole 200 bases as a team. That was a franchise record. A level below them, the High A Beloit Skycarp stole about 320 bases, and that was tied for the minor league lead. Last year's Beloit base running coach, Mason Sherrill, is now on the Blue Wahoos staff, And sure enough, through the first week and a half, the Blue Wahoos were stealing more than 3 bases a game. It is an exciting brand of baseball to watch.
I mean, absolutely. And like I said, everybody in this league is really taking advantage of it. The Wahoos already had immense speed on this team. 3 different guys, Christian Hernandez, Brendan Jones, and Marion Boyd, all stole over 50 bags this year. So they were going to be running wild no matter what. Now with the new pickoff move and with a first base coach that at least most of the players are familiar with, they're really running wild. They're loving it.
Well, base running has been a strength for the Blue Wahoos. In the early going, offense has been a bit slow to keep up, although we've seen some signs of life as of late. Let's talk about a couple of the guys that have definitely made a strong first impression, beginning at the top of the order in Brendan Jones. Here's a guy who came over in the offseason from the Yankees in a trade, and he's just a gamer. I mean, he's been an ideal leadoff man in terms of getting on base, running deep counts, and just providing that spark at the top of the order.
He's a baseball player. You know, that guy is a baseball player, and I know it sounds simplified, but you just know one when you see one. Brendan Jones got 3 hits in his Blue Wahoos debut. He's already knocked out a homer. He's running the bags like crazy. And what surprised me the most, he's played extremely good defense out in left field. He gunned down Jesus Madej back in their first series against Biloxi at home plate. He's getting good jumps out and left. I mean, he's doing everything you could ask for. There's a reason he was a part of that trade for such a highly touted guy like Ryan Weathers.
Yeah, surprising not because he was a bad defender. It's just that wasn't really part of the scouting report that we were told. We've got an embarrassment of riches in the outfield. Pretty much 4 active outfielders on the roster, and all of them could be playing a pretty capable center field.
I mean, absolutely, especially defensively. Fenwick Trimble, although he's had his struggles at the plate to start the year, he's been absolutely spectacular in the outfield. Dylan Lewis with that big frame, he's getting good first jumps. He's running down balls that really should not be caught, but he's making it look super easy. And of course, Brendan Jones and Marion Boyd are doing their thing out in left and when they're called on at center.
You mentioned the name Dylan Lewis. He came over in that same trade from the Yankees, and you got the sense that he was adjusting not only to a new organization, but also a new level, because he had not yet reached Double-A in the Yankees organization. After some brief growing pains, we've seen some signs of life with the bat, and that is a pretty powerful bat.
No kidding. He had over 20 homers last year in the Yankee system across single and high A. And he's just been a really great addition to this ball club. You know, he started off a little bit slow, as you mentioned. Last season in April, he started off real slow, about just over 100 batting average. So kind of par for the course for Dylan, but you know, he's really gotten it going. He's really gotten it going since that power stroke has come to fruition. He's knocked a couple out already, and I'm just really, really excited to see how he progresses throughout the year.
It's a powerful bat. It's also a unique bat in terms of how it's shaped. To go back to early 2025, when everyone was talking about it, Dylan Lewis is one of those guys that is still using the torpedo bat with a little bit of a thicker barrel and tapered off at the end. You got to experience it as an employee of the Milwaukee Brewers last year. Now you are broadcasting a player with a torpedo bat. It's kind of a fun little wrinkle to talk about and see, hey, maybe that wouldn't have left the yard if he was swinging a normal bat.
I mean, it's certainly interesting to talk about. I also find it funny the Yankees get credited with this. It came out of the Marlins organization, actually. At the beginning of the year last year with the Yankees, they hit over 10 home runs in Game 2, and everyone thought, well, I guess it's a magic bat. This bat hits home runs. It doesn't matter who's holding it. Obviously, that ended up tapering off a little closer towards the middle of the season. But there's clearly something to it. That bigger barrel gets the weight a little more even for the hitters. And if a guy like Dylan Lewis is swinging it, who already has that major power, I think it can only mean good things.
Another guy who's been off to a really hot start at the plate this year for the Blue Wahoos is Peyton Green. And on a different club, we might be talking a little bit more about Peyton Green. He was a high draft pick just a couple years ago, but because he joined the Blue Wahoos late last year, he's kind of a bit more of a known quantity. He's flown under the radar. If he keeps hitting the way he has, that won't be the case for long.
He's really forcing manager Nelson Prada's hand. I mean, how do you keep this guy out of the lineup? One, he's versatile. He can play 3 different positions in the infield. He's a designated hitter from time to time, and he's just hitting the ball hard. He knocked out 2 homers in the first couple weeks of the season. He had a 4-for-4 night against. Who were we just playing? The Knoxville Smokies.
Yeah.
Against the Knoxville Smokies, came up a triple shy of the cycle. He's just hitting the ball. I mean, what else can you say about the guy? So I'm really excited to see Peyton Green's progression throughout the season.
The way the Blue Wahoos lineup is constructed is that there are a few guys who are, priorities for the organization to make sure that they get everyday playing time. And the bottom few spots in the order are, for the time being, up to manager Nelson Prada to get guys in, get guys reps. But to work your way up the order is sometimes an uphill battle for someone like Peyton Green, but he's done everything so far to earn that opportunity. Going back to behind the plate, Blue Wahoos catcher Ryan Ignafo is one of those returners from last year. When he was healthy, he was not only a good hitter, but he was also a clutch hitter. We've seen a little bit of both of that here in the first couple weeks this year.
Yeah, a couple big doubles early on in the season. Still waiting for the hits to start falling a little bit, but he's made the hits count. He had a big late double against the Biloxi Shuckers back in their first series of the year. Really made it a close game. He ended up being the potential tying run on second in that ninth inning. And we all knew he was going to hit, but like you said, man, that defense, Eric, that's really going to elevate him through this system a lot quicker than he initially thought.
Well, before we move on to our featured guest today, Jacob Miller, I do want to ask you about that series in Biloxi because you filled in for me. I was doing some Ice Flyers hockey, and it just so happened that the 0-5 Blue Wahoos got their first win of the season with you on the mic. So take me through that broadcast and the emotions going through a nail-biting victory.
Man, I mean, it was a lot of fun. It's super fun as a broadcaster when the team does your job for you. When they make it super interesting and super close, all you got to do is sit there and take them through it. So I honestly got to have a blast. What the Wahoos did so well was take advantage of mistakes. When the opposing team has made errors historically this year, that has led to runs for the Wahoos. So they've done a very good job of taking advantage of the extra outs because the game only gives you 27. If they give you 28 and 29, you have to take advantage, and they've done a great job of that.
Blue Wahoos are facing the Shuckers again at home next week, so we'll be talking about Biloxi in next week's episode. But let's turn our attention to our upcoming guest, Jacob Miller. In his third year at the AA level, he's taken some big steps forward from last year to this year in terms of fastball velocity, and he's made a couple starts so far. What have you seen from up top?
I mean, it's looked great. The fastball, like you said, is up. It's making his breaking stuff better, and he's filling up the zone, most importantly. Bigger velocity on a fastball can lead to more erratic pitches, but it hasn't seemed to be an issue for Jacob. He's getting the ball across the zone. He's commanding his pitch as well, and he's got a lot of room to go up, so I'm super excited about it.
Jacob Miller, a mainstay in the rotation, the innings leader last year. He also had the most starts for the Blue Wahoos, and the hope is that he can stay healthy this year, continue to deliver results, and maybe make his way on to AAA Jacksonville. Any questions that you'd like me to ask Jacob, because he's about to be sitting in that chair?
You're kind of throwing me on the spot here. Just how's he feeling? I mean, you know, coming back to AA, sometimes it can be a little frustrating, but, I mean, where does he see his career going, moving forward? And, you know, does he feel ready for that next step?
Even though Jacob Miller is one of the youngest guys on this team, he actually has more experience at AA than all but 3 different Pensacola players that he shares a clubhouse with. We'll be talking with Jacob Miller, Blue Wahoos starting pitcher, after this on Wahoos Weekly.
You finally found the perfect car in Racing Blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Messick Insurance Agency in Pensacola if Auto Owners make sense for you.
Keep going, more. No, stop!
Gilmarine, your one-stop shop for all your boating needs. We offer a vast selection of parts, accessories, and electronics. Discover our range of used boats in every size, shape, and brand, all ready to get you on the water today. And we provide expert advice and top-notch customer service to ensure you have the best boating experience. We service all outboard, inboards, stern drives, jet drives, and personal watercraft. Our certified staff will get you back on the water. Visit Gilmarine at 3541 West Fairfield Drive, Pensacola.
Get a fresh cut and a fresh start at AHW Barber Academy. We focus on growth. Join us at 3822 North 9th Avenue, Pensacola, for a top-notch $6 haircut while supporting aspiring barbers. Our students learn in a real-world setting, guided by experienced professionals to become licensed barbers. Need a cut or a new career? Visit AHW Barber Academy or call 850-692-9298.
Empire Truck Sales, located at 2255 West Detroit Boulevard in Pensacola, is your Freightliner, Western Star, Detroit Diesel, and Cummins dealer for Northwest Florida. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., providing sales, service, and parts. Empire Truck Sales is also your Oasis dealer for Freightliner custom chassis RV and motorhome repairs. Running I-10 will get you in.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Wahoos Weekly. I'm broadcaster Eric Bramer, and our special guest this week is one of the longest tenured members of the Blue Wahoos team, despite being still just a young prospect on the Blue Wahoos staff, Jacob Miller. Jacob, seems like we've known each other for a while. You joined us all the way back in 2024, now starting year 3 with the Blue Wahoos. How are you feeling in the first couple weeks of the 2026 season?
I feel great. It's probably the best I felt in my pro career, if I'm being honest. Just arm-wise, health-wise, and strength-wise, everything feels great, so just ready to attack.
Let's talk about the strength, because the thing that I heard about you as we were getting dispatches from spring training is that you had added some fastball velocity in the offseason. You went down, to Latin America, and you got to spend some time in a lab and figure out how to unlock a few extra miles per hour. How exactly did you do that?
Well, I started in week 1 of the offseason. I was not happy with the results of last season, so I kind of took a little bit of anger into all the lifts and got just a lot stronger from every aspect of upper, lower, moving faster, and then started throwing plyos as well. So stuck to the routine that they gave me, and then once I was ramping up, went down to the DER and went through the velo phase, and it was great. Just the environment was electric. Everyone was trying to do the same thing, just throw harder, and then when you got a group of guys that are all trying to accomplish the same thing, it makes it a lot easier.
Let's simplify it for the viewers at home. Plyos, what are those?
Just different weighted balls. Not only do they make your arm stronger, but it just helped me put my arm in a better position. Just like the scap and everything, just throwing it and the timing and everything was better as well.
And then the velo sessions, that is going into a lab with a bunch of cameras and high-speed tracking data on you, and you're just trying to throw as hard as possible. Maybe not even trying to throw a strike, but you're just trying to maximize the velocity from your physical presence, right?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time when I was down there, it was just pull downs and dropping it. Like, it wasn't even trying to throw it hard off the mound. It was just, all right, like, run and see how fast you can throw this, and then once spring rolls around, like, we'll translate that to the mound in the game.
How do you translate that to the mound in the game? Because, of course, you have to throw strikes when you get on the mound in a game.
The first couple weeks, it was like, we don't care where it's going. Like, we're trying to accomplish velocity. Like, that's our main goal right now. And especially with me, too. I mean, I feel like I haven't had a strike throwing problem. So they were like, let's get this velo thing, and like, we trust that, like, you're going to be able to figure it out. You're going to be able to find the zone. So, I mean, last week it was first one of the year, so it was a little spotty, but we kind of tweaked the windup a little bit. So I feel really good, stable, and everything feels the same.
Let's start at the beginning for Jacob Miller. As anyone who has seen our social media posts on a day that he starts would know, he's got a pretty tight-knit community that comes from, right?
Yeah.
And so what has that helped you accomplish as you've become an adult and grown into your professional career?
I mean, it's always just good. The more people you have behind you supporting, just, they always say it takes a village. So I think being able to actually have a village behind you makes it a lot easier. So if I have a great day, they let me know. If I don't have a great day, I got a lot of buddies that let me know. So I think just keep you humble, but they also, bring you up when you need it.
You grew up in Ohio, kind of Reds territory down there, but I know you also watched the Dodgers, and you just kind of focused on pitchers that you tried to emulate, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not lefty, but I always loved Kershaw growing up, so I would always try and throw the big curveball. And then obviously like the Verlander and the Scherzers, those were like the righties I would watch. So just seeing them, it was always like, all right, I want to throw hard. I want to throw a nasty slider. I want to do this. So whatever they did, I would try to do.
Were you baseball, or did you also play other sports growing up?
I played a lot of other sports. I love football. Baseball wasn't my favorite probably until middle school. I always thought younger, I was like, oh, I love football. Because, pitching, it was all right. And then I also did track in middle school and high school, basketball, and then baseball.
How did your exposure to those other sports help you become a better baseball player in the long run?
I think just like the athleticism, just staying athletic, being able to move, and then through the whole baseball recruiting thing, doing track, I actually in middle school I was like top 10 in the country for high jump in 8th grade. So all the college coaches love that. Just all they want to do is recruit athletes. So being able to fall back on that, but when I started jumping that high, I thought maybe okay, could I do both in college? And then realized it wasn't reality. I kind of stopped going up, but Yeah, just being able to stay athletic.
All this talk about college, I know you were preparing for that, but the Marlins drafted you out of high school and you made the choice to turn pro. What went into that decision, and what were the factors that helped you arrive at that decision?
I just wanted to play pro baseball. Not really a massive school guy either, so I think just being able to get paid. I mean, obviously there's NIL and stuff now, but in my eyes, getting money to do what I love to do and then go already have a chance and be in the door of where college, like all these guys are trying to get to pro ball still. So it's like I already had a really good opportunity to get where I want to go. So just going out there, and I figured it's pro baseball. They're going to have the tools and stuff that I need to develop. So I was like, why not?
Marlins have earned a pretty good reputation for developing pitching, and I'm sure you were plugged right into that right away out of high school. What did they help unlock from you, maybe that first year, that helped you realize, oh, I'm with the big boys now?
Yeah, my first couple outings, I kind of I shoved. So like I was like, oh, this pro ball thing's not too bad. And then I got humbled a little bit, but it was really just the pitchability, being able to like just limit damage. And not only is it just like you have to have the best stuff, but you got to put the ball where it's not going to get touched. Because here everyone throws hard, everyone has nasty stuff. So like what can you do to separate yourself and mix up timing?
You arrived at Double-A in late 2024, and I remember your first start. In fact, it was a very wild week in Chattanooga where we had a couple of rainouts and some weird double headers with like 20 runs scored. But your game itself, what do you remember about the emotion surrounding that? Because they were close enough to home where you had a lot of people showing up to support you in person.
Yeah, well, I remember giving up a 3-run pump to Nick Northcutt, who I actually faced probably 25, 30 times during COVID indoors. So that one kind of I was salty about that one a little bit. But other than that, it was kind of like, all right, like we're here, we're getting closer. And after that, like first inning, I really just settled in. Like the mound's the same distance, and that's what you hear from guys saying they go to every level. It's all the dimensions are the same, your stuff's the same. So as long as you just get ahead, everything's good.
You were the young guy in that clubhouse, and you are still pretty young, but at that point, with some veterans surrounding you in the Blue Wahoos clubhouse back in 2024, who did you kind of look up to in terms of just how to conduct yourself as a professional?
Ooh, well, me and Snelling got here at the exact same time, so I think we got along really well when we first got here, just being the same age and all that. And then last year, I'd say Dax, he was a good guy to be around because he'd been here, so he kind of knew what to do, and just an extra year or two of navigating through a pro ball season. So we got along really well last year. And then I'm trying to think who else. Obviously, like Dale Stanovich and Kempner and all those guys. The bullpen guys were really good. Just good vibes, just never too high, never too low. Just go out and do your thing. You're
still younger than a lot of your teammates, but you've kind of taken on that veteran role just by virtue of time served here. So how have you taken those lessons you learned when you were the young guy to become more of a leader now in 2026?
Just not try to do too much, just because you see all these guys that you play against, week in and week out, and, you may dominate them or they may dominate you. And then in a week or two, you see them up in the show and they're dominating. So it's kind of just like, all right, like you're getting close, we're almost there. So just stay the course and everything will take care of itself.
I'm going to hand you the baseball. You're going to switch your microphone to your left hand. The pitch that you were showing people last year around this time was the splitter, which acted as your changeup. Show me that grip. So you're splitting your fingers and you're letting that ball kind of tumble out, and ideally it drops at the last moment.
Yeah,
right?
It was almost like knuckleballish when I threw it right, but it just didn't get what I wanted out of it.
So you've ditched it, and you've now got a kick change, which it seems like every pitcher's trying to throw, because a lot of really good pitchers are throwing it in the big leagues now. Show me the kick change.
So I just normal circle change and then spike the middle finger, and then circles on the seam, and it's right here, and I pronate and just flick when I pronate, and it kills the spin, and it's a lot more depthy and has the arm side.
Pronate, your forearms and palms facing in.
Yep.
And that makes it look like a fastball and all your other pitches, so you can't be tipped out of the hand that's changeup with the palm pushing outward.
Yeah.
Supinating.
Yes, and I think with the splitter too, it would that's pretty easy to see out of hand. You can see that out there easy, but this blends in with everything a lot better.
Show me the fastball grip.
mainly rocking all sinkers to righty,
Yeah, that's a two-seam fastball.
and then just four-seam to lefties.
And why do you change the fastball grip depending on the handedness of the batter?
Just sinker for me. Whether if I throw my best sinker or not, the lefties just tend to see it, or they can flick their bat out and hold on it longer. But just historically, a sinker into a righty in on the hands is a lot harder to hit, and four seam that rides a little bit to the lefties is harder to hit than the sinker to them.
Finally, want to ask you a little bit off the field. You've been here in Pensacola longer than a lot of people. I asked this question of Carson Milbrand, but of course he was only here for a couple weeks. So what have you enjoyed about being here in Pensacola now that you're in your third season with the Blue Wahoos?
The beach is nice. The golf is good. Gets a little hot out here, and then I go to the mall quite a bit.
Okay.
Cordova Mall, probably in there too much. And I go to Ben's Card World quite a bit. I was actually there this morning.
Okay, now we're going to be working on your card set for 2026. Any specific requests for what you want your card to look like this year?
Oh, that's a good question.
Goofy, serious, dignified?
Dignified.
Dignified,
Yeah.
okay. Maybe a candid?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll try and look through the photo archive and find a good photo of Jacob Miller where he looks dignified and candid. Final question. What does a good 2026 season look like for you? The dream is to get to the big leagues.
Mm-hmm.
There's a step in between there. What at the end of the season will make you satisfied that you've done your best in 2026?
I mean, obviously get to the highest level possible, but I would say just accomplish like the goals that I had in the off season of, one, throwing harder with nastier stuff. We'll take care of that. So instead of rolling out every outing and saying, all right, if I throw good, maybe I have a chance to go to AAA, it's just like, no, like this is what I'm going to work on. And if I do all my stuff that I need to be consistent in that should take care of itself.
Our thanks to Jacob Miller for joining us here on this episode of Wahoos Weekly. You can see him pitch every week for the Blue Wahoos until he moves on to AAA, hopefully sooner rather than later. And you can watch every episode of Wahoos Weekly live at 5:30 Central Time on Blad TV, or you can watch archived episodes on the team's official Blue Wahoos YouTube channel. That's Pensacola Blue Wahoos on YouTube. For Charlie Hobart and our entire production crew with the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, this is Eric Bramer. Thanks for watching this episode of Wahoos Weekly.